Hi, I'm Meg. We're going to be going through a program for your back health today. So our back health relies on many aspects of conditioning in our body. We've got our glutes that contribute to it, we've got our hamstrings that contribute to it, we've got the front of the hips and the hip flexors that also play a major part in taking care of our back health. So you'll notice that we go through a few of these things in this little class. So stay with me and enjoy feeling a little bit more open in your back at the end, hopefully. We're going to start by coming onto our hands and knees, just into all fours. Just take a little moment to wiggle through those hips. Take a little moment to maybe do a few head rolls and hip rolls, rolling around, breathing into this, maybe closing your eyes. Maybe you're waking your body up for the first time today, or maybe it's late in the evening. You're waking it up from sitting down all day perhaps, whatever it is. Let it feel good. And then we're just going to take the hips back and sit down in our child's pose. We're going to take our child's pose rocks, rolling up through the spine and then arching and taking yourself back down. So see if you can get a curved spine on the way up and then arch through the spine on the way back. Chin on the chest on the way forward, chin forward on the way back. This time, sweep your front arm back behind you, circle it up to the ceiling as you rock forward. Take a breath in, look up, exhale, land that hand on your back hand. Lower down into your child's pose and take a breath here. So this is a little moment for your lower back. If you want a little bit more, you can walk those hands a little bit further around to the side, just off your mat. Lower down and let this front shoulder, your left shoulder, relax down towards the floor. Take a nice deep breath in from your little finger all the way down into your hip. And then exhale, we're going to recover. Maybe you need to walk your hands back slightly, rocking forward into that all fours position, circling the arm up to the ceiling, all the way around to the back, and then landing back in your child's pose. Let's go on the other side. So sweep that back hand back. Inhale, circle it up to the ceiling. Bring it forward as you pull the hips back and land it on your opposite hand and bring yourself into your child's pose. If you need a little bit more, walk off of your mat. Drop down through that right shoulder, through that back shoulder, and just take a breath in. So you want your right underarm to be looking down at the floor rather than opening it up to the front. Let's take one more breath into that side body. Let the lower back open up. And then when you're ready, walk the hands back. Circle that arm forward as you rock forward. Circle it back. And land back into your child's pose. We're going to rock forward onto our hands and knees. Pick up the heels towards your sit bones. Bring those toes towards me. And then sit those hips back down into your child's pose. Roll it forward. Inhale onto the hands. Pick the heels up. Big arch over to the back. And sit back down in this little twisted child's pose. Let's take that again. Inhale. Exhale. Pull the hips back. One more time. Inhale forward. Exhale, sink them back. Let's come forward, inhale. Exhale, and just take it back through the center this time. Relax the forehead to the ground. We're going to roll up into our all fours. We're going to take our front leg and extend it out long behind us, tucking that toe underneath, pushing into the hands, lifting the belly so your core's working. And then we're going to take that leg and take it to the back of your mat, to the opposite side. We're going to pull that back shoulder, our right shoulder, towards our right hip, squash our right side of the body, and really twist into this. So we're getting into a little glute stretch here. Pull that shoulder in and take a breath in for a side body stretch, letting your left shoulder come all the way around to the opposite side of your mat. The inside thighs are compressing here, and you've got a little push backwards into it. And then as you exhale, return back straight to the top of your mat and bend that back knee to squish it into your front knee. So we've stacked our knees. We're going to bring the knees into the center of the mat and then open the toes just a little bit wider than the edges of your mat, and then gently pull those hips back and let the chest drop down over those thighs. Take a deep breath in here. Just an outer glute opener. One long breath, one long exhale. And then we gently rock forward onto our hands and just readjust those knees. Come back to all fours. Give those hips a little wiggle around, and let's take it over onto the other side. Extend your back leg back. Right leg pushing out behind us. Take it towards me and then look around towards me, pulling your left shoulder towards your left hip, squashing it, a little side body squeeze and then a side body extension with the other side. So let your back shoulder come all the way around towards me. Take a breath in. And then exhale, gently bring the shoulders to face the front of the mat. Fold that back leg in, squash the knees together, and then open those toes a little bit wider than your mat and pull the sit bones back. The sit bones are just going to be hovering off the floor, and we're going to let that chest melt onto that front thigh or wherever you are. Most important is that your chin is dropping into your chest. Take a nice big deep breath in here, expanding the back. And then exhale, pull yourself up and out of it, return to all fours. Give those hips a little wiggle. We're going to sit back, let the spine unfold, and then roll from your child's pose all the way forward to let our hips drop down onto the floor, bend through the elbows, melt the chest onto the ground. All right, coming into some back work. We're going to slide our back hand up by our face and our front hand out just from the chest here. We're going to breathe in and gently lift our chest up off the floor. Shoulders are down away from the ears. Lift your belly button away from the mat. And we're going to float our front leg, that left leg, up towards the ceiling. Keeping it straight, trying to lift the thigh bone off the floor. Push the pubic bone into the ground. Lift that belly for one last lift. As you exhale, bring that chest down and just switch the hands over. So front hand by your face, back hand just out from your chest, shoulders relaxed, tuck the pelvis, lift the belly, lift the chest, inhale, and float that back leg off the ground. Reaching the toe away from the crown of the head, we inhale, exhale, melt it down. Switch hands and let's take that one again. Let the shoulders drop, float the back leg off as you lift the chest, inhale. Exhale, lower down once more. Inhale, float that chest. Reaching our long dish pose. Exhale, melt down. Switch the hands. This time as we lift up, we hold it here. We're going to roll over onto our side by peeling the chest, the hip off the floor and letting us land on our back elbow. Your top toe pulls to the opposite corner of your mat. We take a breath in here. So we're stretching from our shoulder all the way down through the front of the body to that toe. Breathing into that line. And then exhale, control, melting your belly down onto the ground. Switch the hands. Let's go to the other side. Inhale, float the head, float the leg. Peel the chest and belly off the ground by reaching that toe back, landing on that front elbow. Inhale, maybe look back at that back toe. And then exhale, gently melt back down onto the ground. We're going for one more progression here. Switch the hands, float the chest and leg, take an inhale. If you want to stay with the previous version, go for that, that's fine. Otherwise, we're going to push up onto our hands this time, all the way up. Reach that toe back, take a breath in. Exhale, melt down towards the floor. Switch the hands, lift the leg, lift the chest, drop the shoulders, and let's go onto your elbow or onto your hands for a press up. Keep reaching away, take a breath in. Exhale, bend and melt down towards the ground. Give those hips a little wiggle, releasing the lower back. We're going to take the hands out to the top corners of our mat. Keep the elbows bent here, keep the shoulders dropped down, and we're going to push into a cobra. Lift the belly, lift the chest. Inhale, chin just pulls gently out in front. And then exhale, bend the elbows, bring yourself back down. Let's shift the hands slightly closer. Now before we go anywhere this time, let's tuck the pelvis. Tuck the pubic bone down into the floor, lift the belly button off the ground and tailbone down to your heels. Let's push down, lift up. Shoulders are far away from the ears. Beautiful long neck. Take an inhale. Keep pulling that belly button in towards your spine. Don't let it drop. Don't let us collapse into our lower back. Let's protect our backs. Exhale, melt down to the floor. One more time. Shift it back last moment. Roll the shoulders back. Tuck the pelvis. Lift the belly button. Push down. Breathe in. Chest expansion out in front. Exhale, back down, we come. Now you might like to stay there, you might like to take the hands underneath the chest. Roll the shoulders back, squeeze the elbows in if you're here with me. Inhale, pushing up into your full cobra. We're just going to take a look over our front shoulder. Look towards me, pull that front shoulder towards your hip, and let's pick up that front toe, bend it, and take it to the opposite knee, to the back of your mat. Little twist, and then come back through center, take it over to the other side. Bend and tap. Come back through center. So you're just twisting those shoulders. Let this feel good for you. Remember, you can always come down a little bit lower if you need to. Work it at your own level. We're going to come out of this. Gently melting the chest down to the ground, wiggling those hips, releasing through the lower back, and then pushing back into our child's pose. Take your time getting there. Open up the back. Let the forehead drop to the floor and take a breath in. So just reversing that curve through the spine. We're going to roll up nice and slowly to sit on our heels. Just sit over to one side, let those legs unfold out in front, and bring yourself down onto your back. Rolling down through that spine, bring the knees in, give them a hug, and roll that lower back, massage that lower back into the ground. We're going to take these knees towards the front. Bring them towards me and just lay them down on the ground, and then roll onto your side. Take your underneath arm out in front, reach it towards me, and top arm closes down on top of that. So we're just going to open the book. We're going to open that top arm, take a breath in, circle it up to the ceiling, and then reach it to the back, opening that chest and trying to let that top shoulder relax down onto the mat. Bringing it back in, let's close it off, roll back onto your side. Inhale, big circle up, really reach this top hand away from you. Exhale to melt into that spinal twist. Back we come, let's go for one more of these, opening our big giant books. Inhale up. Exhale down. Let's stay here, letting that back shoulder relax on the mat. Now this may be enough for you, or maybe you want a little bit more out of this stretch. We can take our top leg and pull it up towards our belly and extend our underneath leg down. And maybe you like to take that front hand and relax it onto that top thigh. We're taking a breath into our belly here wherever you are. As you exhale, try and let that top shoulder melt down towards the ground. Feel that separation happening through the midline from your belly. That's why we take our belly breath here. Exhale, let the hip and shoulder separate from each other. So gently come out of this. We're going to roll over to the side, pull the knees up, and gently roll yourself onto your back. Give those knees a squeeze and a hug, and then let's take it over to the other side, towards the back of the mat. Knees stacked together for this first part. Take that underneath arm out at shoulder height. Top arm meets it overhead, and then we go for our big book opening. Inhale, circle it up. Exhale, reach it towards me, opening that chest. Come, close it back up. This is like when in reception they have those beautiful big giant picture books that the teacher sits on their laps and reads. That's what I think about when I'm doing this. Inhale, lift it up to the ceiling. Exhale, relax that chest. Let's hold it here for this one. Maybe staying here, or you're coming into your full spinal twist if you like. Letting that top leg shift upwards and letting that underneath leg extend out long, and just letting that top knee relax to the ground, letting that top shoulder melt down. Take a moment to let all the tension leave your body, especially from that center. Breathe into the belly. Exhale, melt in two different directions, separating shoulder from hip. Try and take the chin in towards the neck so the back of the neck is long. We're not kinking up to the ceiling. Take one more belly breath. And then as you exhale, let's close off to the side. Bring that arm around, bring the knees in, and gently roll yourself onto your back. Squeeze those knees in. Let's go for one more little roll around on our lower back, massaging the front of the hips, massaging the lower back and opening up the glutes here. Let it feel good for you. And then as you exhale, let those legs go, let them slide out long. And as always, we're finishing off with our Shavasana. So whether you're staying here for a while or whether you're going to wrap up with me, let's take 2 deep breaths together. Let that lower back melt into the floor. Feel the space there. Breathe into that lower back for one last moment. And exhale. Give in to gravity pulling you down into the ground. Again, feel free to stay here. Take your time. A moment of stillness in your day. Or if you'd like to finish off with me, let's very gently roll ourselves out of our lying position over onto our side and slowly make our way up into our seated position. Thanks for joining me for your back program today. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you soon.